just like, I'm over it. I've had enough of Siavash's like weird cuck chair modesty. I don't know what he's doing. Enough of this shit. And she's like, bro, this is your last chance. You either bang me or you're just like hundo dunzo and it's done.
She's essentially being like, if you don't bang me, you're grounded. Hey everybody, welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Hannah Hillam.
And I'm Kaveh Taherian. Hannah, how you doing? You're looking feisty. Looking a little bit like you fought someone today. Yeah.
Oh, I fought myself. And by that, I mean I ripped the skin off my lip until it bled. And then I didn't notice it until drops of blood hit the artwork I was working on. So, yeah, that's
extra.
Oh, and then I couldn't find lipstick to cover it with, so I put eyeshadow on my lips because I was like, that would work. It didn't work. And so then I put chapstick on the eyeshadow, and now whatever you see is what you see.
Listen, I just assumed that you cut yourself with like a Barbie knife on your lip before we started recording or something.
Matt, what set would that be part of? It'd be like, Butcher Barbie.
Butcher Barbie cutting lips, or the Silence of the Lambs kit that she has, where she's trying to like cut off flesh.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's Silence of the Lambs Barbie. Ted Levine Barbie.
Great. Ted Levine Barbie.
That shouldn't hear the thing. The lip bleeding is just the tip of the iceberg. So for context, my husband's been out of town for a week. Whenever I'm alone, I degenerate. I turn into an absolute degenerate where I'm like grazing the kitchen and eating little bits. I don't eat enough. And it's not even that he's the one who makes me eat. It's just that when I have to feed my kids, that's when I remember to eat.
There's a structure to it. Yeah. That's like when, I'm similar, but I don't necessarily devolve in like a being disgusting way, or more that I'm just like, I'll just eat whatever's in the fridge. And then after the third day of being like, I had olives and mozzarella for 4 meals straight, I'm like, I should probably eat real food now.
I'm seeing those black dots in my eyes that say I'm going to pass out. Because that was this morning. I fell asleep last night without eating dinner. And then I woke up and I was like, I'll eat some gummy worms for breakfast.
Classic breakfast.
It's whenever I think I'm like an adult, my husband goes away and I'm like, I don't have any respect for the flesh sack that my brain occupies.
My brain occupies.
All it is a burden to my creative flow. Eating?
Oh yeah, it's annoying.
Anyway, coming in
until
hot.
You're done. Yeah, coming in
usual.
Bloody and hot. Yeah.
How are you? Are you bleeding?
I'm not bleeding. Anywhere? No, I'm excited because, as you know, this comes out on March 19th. Tomorrow is Nowruz.
Happy
Nowruz. The Persian New Year. I'm very excited. It's my favorite time of the year. All of our different traditions that I've talked about with you at length.
Yeah.
Last year on the episode, we've been engaging in those. So, I'm growing
some pretty dope traditions. You're going first this week.
I'm going to be going first this week. And you ready? Is there anything you wanted to catch up on before we started?
Just a mention. I covered everything. No, just a mention of we're going to be in Chicago in a month. When this comes out.
No, not even. It's like in a couple
2
weeks.
weeks. Yeah. So if you guys are going to in Chicago, head to C2E2. Don't have our booth number yet, but we'll be there.
We'll
Come
be in
say
Artist Alley. We'll have fun stuff. I'm very excited. I've neither been to C2E2 as an exhibitor nor as an attendee. So this is my first time going. I'm very excited.
Yeah. It's a good solid people there.
I love Chicago.
Anyway,
I'm excited to be there. I'm excited to be at the convention and meet new people. It's a whole new market. I'm excited.
I'm excited to annoy more artist neighbors.
Perfect. Come get annoyed by us at C2E2. It'll be
person.
Great. In person will bother you. Anyway.
What do you have for me today?
So, as you may have guessed, this is the very special Nowruz episode. So, I'm going to talk about Persian stuff, unlike every other episode where I keep my mouth dutifully shut.
Thankfully. You make way for me to talk all about the British Empire. Thank you.
Yes.
No, so it's funny, there's that bingo card in the Discord, and one of the items is you mentioning Persia. Or just anyone mentioning Persia. But you know what?
It comes up.
We need more positive representation.
Exactly.
Okay?
It's funny. That's my first note I had was about the bingo card specifically, that the adults, I call them the kids in the Discord made.
They're our age. I walked
we should
all
probably
over
link
your
those. No, you didn't walk over. I feel like we should link to it. If people
cards?
at home, if people want to play along at home,
put them in somebody kindly made
in the show notes. Yeah,
a disco card.
Disco card where you can silent disco while you bingo. No, one of the squares was mention of Persia, which I laughed really hard. It made me really happy, and
those bingo squares were hilarious.
They were very good.
My favorite was like, one of us mentions that we haven't eaten all day, and that was one of the first things I said this episode. So, ding, ding, ding.
Hannah, if you remember, you and I had a conversation after we recorded the last Kumatab episode back in December.
Yeah.
Where Khordadian won.
Yeah.
And I had this like weirdly like emotional moment where I was like,
you got, it was you were touched in a good
it was in a good way. It was after we recorded, after we had finished recording, and I was like, oh, it's so weird. It was really exciting for me that like we have this show where we made this very like insane story that involved an aspect of my culture, which honestly, like I've been trained my whole life to keep like separate and like into its own little compartment, like separate from how I live my day-to-day life. So it felt very liberating to be able to like have like those two parts of me meet in a venue that was just for fun and insane and stupid. And it wasn't just like, oh, I'm talking to my cousins. It was like, I'm talking to my friends and then the audience at home. So it was really fun. And, you know, code switching kids will understand exactly what I'm talking about. But so I just wanted to say up front to you and to the audience that like I really appreciate you guys indulging me, and it means a lot, and I'm very happy to be able to do this. It's weirdly healing in this specific way that I didn't know that I was going to be able to do until I was a little bit older.
Surprising healing, where it's like baggage free. We get to talk, you get to integrate the culture in a way that's completely baggage free and just full of like excitement and happiness. That dude's awesome.
And I don't have to qualify it. I don't have to be like, oh, here's how this relates to the British Empire. I'm just like, this thing's cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if you remember last year on Nowruz, I gave a little primer about the holiday and the different aspects of it, which you might want to go back and listen to if you want like the full little skinny. I did like a mini tab on it. But
if you're on YouTube, you can just click the little thing that pops up.
Oh, right. We can link to the show notes to another one. But anyway, so today I'm going to talk about Chaharshanbe Suri, or as it's translated to English, Red Wednesday, aka the one where we jump over the fires.
Oh, okay, good. Less like family murder in Game of Thrones and more jumping over fires. That's
I mean, I guess you could theoretically push your family into the fire and murder them if you wanted to, and just be like, oh, it was a tragic accident and they burned to death. But meanwhile, now I have the throne.
The throne of my of Westeros. Yeah, there it is.
Westeros, right?
The famous Red Wednesday episode.
Exactly. I know. Fires, though, once again, I'm sorry. It's just, that's the theme of this year. It's just going to be fire, fire, fire.
But
over
this
and
is
over
a
again.
good fire. This is good fire.
Yes. So there's actually a lot of aspects to this holiday that they do in Iran. But for us kids in America, we just got down to brass tacks and we're like, this is about fires and jumping. That's it. No flim flam, like woke liberal cuck, like Ajil for us. We're not doing any of that stuff.
We are jumping over flames, and that is it.
That's it. This is America. We believe in freedom and fire jumping. That's it.
Can I tell you something?
Yes.
It was really weird. Like last year you posted a picture of you like jumping over one of the, and it looked so dope that I gained like an entirely new level of respect for you in a way that I couldn't put my finger on. I was like, oh my gosh, I would follow him into like battle. Like it was like a weird brotherhood. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a whoa. Okay. This guy can jump.
It was like, my old skateboarding roots came back. So I'm just sort of doing like this, like, rah! Like I'm just chucking my legs all the way up and just jumping unnecessarily high over this fire.
Cool. The 14-year-old of me that like was obsessed with skaters, I was like, whoa. That's hardcore. Anyway. I've been meaning to tell you that for like a year, but I felt like it was a dumb thing to say, but now I'm going to. But I was like, oh, whoa. All right.
You follow me into the fire as I murder you to take over Westeros. I appreciate it. That's all it takes.
Look, I'm going to step aside and let you take over Westeros, okay? I'm going to be a good ally and give you the platform to take over Westeros. Continue.
Anyway, so the long and the short of this holiday, or sort of like the most crucial part of it is we set up a bunch of little fires and we jump over them. Yeah. All the while declaring Zardi man as to, Sorchi to as man, which basically translates to like, give me like your cleansing fire burning powers and take all my sickly pallor. You're doing like a vibe exchange of sorts.
That's awesome.
Yeah. You're basically like, I'm going to 2024 trauma dump on you. Bye. Thanks.
See ya.
See ya. I'm going to take all the good shit and you can deal with all my bad stuff. Bye.
I'm going to take immediately all the also bad stuff of 2025 now.
Yes, that's true. That's for me to take on throughout the rest of the year as the burden.
I see. Okay, that's cool. So it's pretty much like, trauma dumping 2024 or the year before.
Yeah, the year before Onto the Fire.
Being cleansed for the new year.
Starting off fresh. So
cool.
Because it's fire and fire is awesome when it's not burning down Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I hadn't really thought too much to look into the origins, in part because much of this holiday with me has always tended to be about making sure that like we're doing it right and not forgetting anything that they would have done in Iran. And I've mostly been focused on like preserving the tradition until I got older.
That gave me chills.
What did?
Yeah, I don't know. The preserving, I don't know. I just got like all emotional about that.
Oh, expand on that if you
I don't know. That's really cool. It's like the preservation of something that was lost and you don't want, it's been around for like thousands of years. And so it's like one more link in this tradition that.
Right.
Anyway,
and particularly when you're not, you can't really go to the country for a litany of reasons. So it's very like, I'm very like focused on being like, I got to get it right. I got to get it right. But now that I'm a little bit older, I was like, oh, I guess I can. And then we have this show. I'm like, I can maybe just sit down and read a little bit about the history, which would be cool. And I finally did the night before I'm supposed to record a podcast about it. Despite being 41 years old, I'm basically still 14 when it comes to doing homework.
Never learned your lesson.
Nope.
Me neither. I did this up until 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
So
obviously there's a bunch of Zoroastrian stuff. That's part of it. They love fire, victory of light over darkness, the spring equinox, etc., so on and so forth. But there's arguably a link to the Shahnameh as well, specifically the story of Siavash. So of course,
here's your coffee. Let's see it. Ooh.
This thing's huge.
That is really pretty though. It's like gold leafed, gold embossed.
This is like the best English translation you can find. And the artwork's amazing.
Oh, there's artwork?
Yeah, there's like...
Oh, wow, yeah. That's gorgeous.
It's a beautiful book.
Oh, look at that full page.
Yeah, no, this
page
killer.
is full of all my favorite greens. My favorite green colors.
Anyway, so I went back to... And, the Shahnameh, I've mentioned this many times before, but it's the epic poem of Persian kings by Ferdowsi. It's where my name Kaveh comes from. It's the story of the blacksmith that wanted to overthrow the snake shoulder king.
Oh, right. Oh, that's the king he wanted to overthrow?
Yeah, Zahok did because he wanted to sign a piece of paper saying he was a good king, actually. And if you know anything about me, especially these days, I would rather overthrow the government than sign an affidavit that is something that I believe to be untrue. Yeah.
Yeah, just like your namesake. I think you'd probably
would die. Yeah, I'd be like, absolutely not. Anyway, so in the Shahnameh, there's a character by the name of Siavash, which translates to the one with black stallions. So our horse boy Nicola is going to be all about this story.
It's awesome. We need to get him on this show.
I mean, I was going to say, if anyone's listening who knows Nikola Jokic, either personally, directly, indirectly, please send him our podcast.
I don't even want to hear him talk about basketball. I just want to hear him talk about horses.
That's the exact note I had too. That's all we want.
I don't want him to come on. I don't care about basketball, okay? Nicola, I'm with you. I also don't care about your sport that you play. Well, I do, but get on here and tell us about your stallions and your mares and whatever else horses do.
Listen, every day I watch clips of interviews with him, and never once does anyone ever ask, hey, Nicola, how's your favorite horse doing? What's so special about him to you? Just once.
Bring it up.
They don't. No one cares.
No, we do. Nicola, we care.
We care. So please come on this. I'm just going to do this forever. As long as this podcast is on, I'm just going to keep asking him to come on until someday somebody decides to show it to him and he says, you know what? I'm sorry, I can't. I have to go.
Sorry, I need to feed and tend to my horses.
I don't have time for this podcast. And we would just go,
okay. Yeah. Aye, Nicola.
Aye. Thank you for turning us down. We really appreciate it.
So this is the stallion guy.
The stallion guy, Siavash. So
Siavash, okay.
He is the son of King Kaveh, not to be confused with Tavus, which means peacock in Farsi, which is what I kept messing up in my head. But
King Peacock.
Yeah, King Peacock. Even though it's not his name, that's just what I kept thinking. Kaveh.
Well, isn't it the peacock throne?
I don't know, actually. That's a thing I'm not familiar with.
I was reading about thrones, and I feel like I saw that Iran's throne was called the peacock throne, but I could be mixing it up.
Very possible. I honestly have no idea. That might have been a detail that I missed. And if you remember correctly, what I've said before too is the book is just literally here's the story of this king, and then there's and you tell the whole story. It's like a little mini Shakespearean story, and then it'll be cool. And then his son was this guy, and then it's the whole story about his son, and it's another Shakespearean story, and then it's his son. So it just goes on and on for however many pages this is.
I mean, that looks like a lot.
It's a lot. Anyway, so King Kaveh, his soldiers had gone on this hunting trip, and they met a commoner woman who may or may not have been a slave. I'm not quite clear on that. and she's really attractive, and they're all like hubba hubba auga, like eyes popping out, etc.
Oh yeah. Hitting their foot on the...
Yeah, they're like, ooh, turning into a wolf.
Yep.
And they can't decide who's going to get to take her to like give the middest wienering of her life.
Oh,
and
poor girl.
They're just like debating back and forth. They're like, who gets to take her? And someone comes up with the idea that like, let's bring her back to the king and have him settle this matter.
Is anyone going to ask her? No. Even, oh, wow. She's like, I'm just walking. She's like, and you guys want... Yeah. No, I'm not going to smile at you.
Do you want to buy anything, or are you just going to sit here and fight each other?
For who gets to sleep with me, and I don't want to do that to any of you. Look, I'm on her side. Believe women. Okay.
Exactly. So
hashtag yes all men.
Yes all men.
even epic heroes, okay?
Exactly. So they come up with this idea. They're like, let's bring her back to the king and have him decide, because he's a really good king. He'll decide which one of us gets to bang her. And so they bring this lady back to the kingdom, and King Kaveh is like, yeah, actually, I'm going to need you guys to go, like, patrol the gardens or something. And then he's like, yoink. And he takes her and adds her to his harem.
Oh, honestly, best outcome of all of it. Like, at least you get to be in a harem.
That's basically what he says. Yeah, I think he's just sort of like, I can take you away. You don't have to be like a whatever, like a peasant, slave, whatever. Like, I'll give you everything. You'll get to be part of, you live in the kingdom and blah, blah. I don't know.
It's funny. And throughout history, like when I read things throughout history, I'm like, if I were there, what would be the best case scenario for me? And oftentimes it's like king's harem, a king's mistress, like best case scenario. That's it.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's living the good life in the harem for a short period of time before she gets pregnant.
Yeah. Oh, there it is.
And then she gets pregnant and gives birth. But as she's giving birth, unfortunately, she dies.
Yeah. That's how it goes. Case.
Yeah. So she leaves behind a son who they end up naming Siavash, who's the hero of our story.
Okay, here he is.
And because Siavash was not from a fully aristocratic bloodline, the king sends him away to be trained under Rostam, the greatest warrior of Iran, who had just tragically lost his son.
Oh, okay. Surrogate son.
Surrogate, kind of, yeah. So Rostam's like, Sia, you're going to come live with me now. Sort of like at the end of Goonies, where he's like, come with me, Sloth, you're going to come live with us. It's a reference you get.
I watched that once.
One time. He's like, you're going to come live with me now. And they go off to live in Zabulistan because effectively King Kaveh outsources fatherhood to his best general.
Who among us?
You deal with this. I don't have time for this.
Sean's always like, where's my best general? I'm sick of being a dad.
I got to go find more bang maids, like Frank would say.
When you said bang earlier, I thought bang maid. He's got a bang maid.
I just want like a maid that I can bang, like a bang maid.
Oh, so good.
And so Siavash, he's living with his, surrogate father, Rostam, and he grows up happy and he's learning about all kinds of stuff. I don't know, like how to do drone strikes on civilian weddings or whatever a military dad is supposed to teach his son.
Yeah, something like that. How to worship
I assume
the idea of the military to the point where you will turn against your own countrymen. And
military industrial complex.
American military, not Iranian.
Exactly. And Siavash grows up not only to be a great warrior, but also stone cold stone fox.
Ooh, hottie alert.
Much
hottie
like
alert?
Your boy.
What am I,
hottie
80?
Alert.
Yeah. Oh, hottie
stone
alert.
Stone cold fox.
Nice.
Just like your boy, young Stalin. Yeah, spoken. And pretty soon his talents and looks are hard to keep under wraps.
Am I in love with him? Can I be in love with him?
Sure, yeah. He seems he's a good person.
Bad?
So
okay,
no, he's not bad.
Okay, I'm in love with him.
Basically, he's like a great warrior, super hot. His dad's the king, and the Rostam's like, okay, dude, I can't keep this kid under wraps anymore. It's time for you to go meet your proper biological father.
Oh.
And Rostam brings him back, and King Kaveh is like, hot damn, I got some good ass genes. Look at me go.
Look how hot my son is.
Yeah. But you know who else was into his hot genes?
Who?
The king's wife and Siavash's stepmother, Sudabe.
Oh, uh-oh. This turned into like a Pornhub search.
And just like Buster Bluth, old Sudi's like, oh my God, I've been dating an old lady.
Point with the point.
With the brownish area with points.
Brownish area with points. That's
points. And then suddenly Sudabe hatches a plan to just bang her stepson. And she's like, oh, come help me in my chambers. I'm stuck under the bed, much like you said.
Oops, come help me fix this washing machine.
Yeah, I can't get out of the washing machine. Oh, my head's stuck here. Siavash, can you come help me, please?
A situation we've all been in.
100%. And Siavash wisely sniffs out what's going on. He's like, yeah, I gotta go, bye. Like, I'm not gonna do this.
No.
Because he's smart.
Yeah.
He's not only got good looks, he's got good brains. He's got big brain. What did you call it? Flesh sack? His flesh sack is holding a good brain person. Meat sack.
The flesh sack that his brain lives in is a good one.
Is a good one, exactly.
Brain, he's got a good flesh sack and a good brain. He is a double threat. Well, they say in theater, a triple threat if you can act, sing, and dance. Yeah, he's a triple threat because he can dance. I don't know. Go on.
Dance. He can also dance. He's a very good dancer. I mean,
I'm sure.
We can all dance really well.
Yeah, Persians.
It's part of our culture. Anyway, so he doesn't take the bait. And by some miracle, Sudabe is able to unstuck herself from underneath the bed / laundry machine. And she decides to change tactics. And she goes and talks to the king, and she reminds her husband that Sia's got a bunch of half-sisters that he's never met that live in the harem. He should probably go meet them. And the king's like, yeah.
Oh, no.
He's like, yeah, bro, I do bang a lot. That's true. LOL, set it up.
If it were me, I'd be like, I better not.
He's just like, send my son to the harem at once to go meet his sisters. And then at the harem, they throw this like epic party for Siavash to come to visit.
Okay.
When he comes to visit. And all these ladies are there and everyone's like smelling nice and like dressed up and they're, putting on their lotion or whatever,
Whatever they do in harems.
Whatever.
Dying
I don't
in childbirth, all of it. Yeah. Perishing right and left.
And sure enough, when he's there, Sudabe, his stepmother, greets him. And again, very forward. She's like, oh my God, hey, how are you? I'm so glad you're here. It's actually laundry day, so I'm not wearing any underwear.
She drags the dryer into the room and then gets stuck in it.
The portable dryer.
It's like, oh, oops, I fell in again.
I fell in again. I don't have any underwear because it's laundry day. It's so hard. Can you help me out? And Sia's like, yeah, sure. No, thanks. Sorry, I'm going to go meet my sisters now, but sorry to hear you keep shitting your pants. Good luck. Bye.
Bye, Mom.
Bye, stepmother.
Man, the stepmother trope goes all the way back, doesn't it?
All the way back.
There's Oedipus. I guess Oedipus was with his real mom. Or was that his stepmom? I don't care or remember. Go on.
I believe it was his real mother.
Worse.
But he doesn't know that it's his mother and father, I think, is the whole thing. Right?
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've read about Oedipus. But anyway, Sudabe, she doesn't give up. I mean, these are Persian people we're talking about. We're stubborn as shit.
Since I only have Persian friends now, thanks to you, like literally that's the only friends. Like even in my day-to-day life, I'm like, I guess I'm just hanging out with Persians. It's very stubborn, which is awesome.
Yeah. That's why we get along.
Yeah.
You're one of us. That's why I sought you out. I was like, you seem bitterly angry about certain things that you can't let go. This is a person I can be friends with.
What did you say that I'm being from Utah makes me one of the Christendom's freaks?
I said you were like that. You're a minority white person. That's right. I was like, you're the white person that all other white people are like, what's wrong with you? So I was like, we have the minority bond.
The code switch bond where it's like, I need to keep the way I was raised completely apart from my normal life.
Ironically, white people are also suspicious of you, despite you also being white. That's the funny part. Yeah. I was like, that's a core thing that it's an experience that people don't understand. So anyway.
Woo! I will say to a much lesser degree. Like,
I'm not saying it's 100% equal. Yes.
Okay. We were just, blamed for the worst TLC reality shows on earth. All right.
None of which I've seen. I'm happy to say.
Me neither. It's too. I can't do it.
Don't know.
No. Anyway,
so Sudi's like stubborn and she's annoyed, but she's not going to give up. So she has one more idea, which is to tell her husband, the king, once again. She's like, dude, listen, Sia's totally like the best. And you did such a great job at raising him and like everyone loves him that I think Sia should marry one of my daughters, like my one daughter, actually. And the king sort of thinks to himself and he's like, yeah, you know what? The royal astrologers did prophesize that a magnificent king would be born to Siavash. I think this is a good idea. We should do it. So he calls for his son and Siavash comes in and he tells him the great news that he's decided on a wife for him. And Siavash is like, listen, Dad, cool, awesome. Like, I'll marry whoever you want, but can you please just keep me the hell away from your wife? Because I don't want to be with her alone. It makes me extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he's trying to like balance this. Yeah, but he's trying not to like offend, because at this point you can't just be like, bro, your wife's trying to bang me. Because it's just, who knows what'll happen.
Oh, yeah.
So he's trying
There's
to be.
a whole etiquette around that.
Yeah. And then the king sort of laughs it off and he's like, no, she's just a really, really good stepmom. And she's trying to give you like the best advice. There's nothing sus about her at all. Don't worry about it. And then my favorite line from the reading. Yeah, right. Thanks, Dad. This is my favorite line that I thought you would like. It said, quote, Siavash had no choice but to smile and bow his head in acquiescence as a great storm raged inside of him.
Whoa, I love that. Did you just describe my entire young adulthood?
100%. Oh, that line stuck out to me and made me laugh.
I love that. Also, what a great, I'm not going to Persian explain, but everything you've told me.
Yes.
That's just sums you guys up.
Like, bow my head in acquiescence is great.
polite to a fault while being deeply angry at everything.
Rage.
Yeah, just rage underneath a polite exterior.
Exactly.
I'm not trying to generalize. I'm going by what you've told me, okay?
Listen, it's not wrong. You're not wrong. So sure enough, Siavash has to go out to the harem once again. And this time, Sudaba just comes out and declares her love for him. She's like, enough pussyfooting around. She tells Sia, like, listen, you should marry my daughter. But once the king dies, we can finally be together. And we can like, rule and it'll be dope.
I never wanted that. And
he's like, yeah. And he's like shitting his pants now. He's just like, I don't know what to do. He's kind of freaking out. But again, what did you say? Good brain meat sack person.
He's got
clever.
Good brain, good meat sack. Yeah.
He's got good brain, good meat sack. And so he tells her, he like figures out a way to sort of finesse it. And he's like, listen, you're so exquisite and beautiful and special and magical that only a king can be married to you. I'm like a half-breed, like regular dude who grew up like learning about drone strikes. He's like, I'm not really regal. Like I'm just like
I'm hot doesn't mean I'm king material.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not worthy of you.
Oh,
he's like,
smart.
You should just, but you know what? I'd be so stoked to marry your daughter. That would be such a great consolation prize. Like, don't even worry about it. Like, it would be my greatest honor to do it. I'm so sorry, but thank you. And he just sort of runs away.
Yeah. Understood. Understandable.
And Suri's like, he's playing hard to get. I like the guy. I like the ones that play hard to get. And she bides her time.
I like the stepsons that play hard to get.
Yeah. She's like, listen, okay. And she comes up with another plan.
Can't she just ask him to make another stepson for her? I guess the age gap would be insane.
Yeah, he won't be a hottie too, the way that he is.
Right.
Remember, Siavash is a stone cold fox.
Yeah, gets it from his mom.
Yeah. So she's like, whatever. Okay, fine. I'll go forward with the plan. I'll tell my daughter that she has to marry him, and we'll go forward with whatever. And soon the king learns of this and the engagement, and he gets really excited. He's like, yeah, finally you're going to get married. Yeah, excitement, blah, blah, blah. And he goes and opens up the royal treasury, and he gives his son untold riches.
Wow.
And Siavash is like, yeah, okay, cool. I don't really want any of this. I just need to get away from my horn dog stepmom. Please.
Unlike today's wedding where you go into deep debt. You open the vault and there's nothing in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sudaba's like, Mama horny, Michael.
You know that we use that for everything in my house?
Is Mama horny, Michael?
No, I'll whisper to Sean and be like, Mommy hungry, Sean. Or just like, and he'll be like, ew. But still, it's fun.
Yeah, it applies here to this story.
Yeah. Mommy horny, Michael.
Mama horny, Michael. So eventually, Sudaba she's just like, I'm over it. I've had enough of Siavash's like weird cuck chair modesty. I don't know what he's doing. Enough of this shit. So she summons him to the throne. And she's like, come on in. And she's like, bro, this is your last chance. You either bang me or you're just like hundo dunzo and it's done. And you don't want to cross paths with me if you're dunzo. And Siavash just has this moment of candidness. And he kind of like talks back to her. But like, again, in a polite way. He doesn't like go off the rails. He's just sort of like, just very forthright. He's like, my father is the king.
And
I am not going to betray him. Yeah.
Right.
And you are the queen. And furthermore, you should be above committing a sin like this. Like, that's not very regal. Like, what are you doing?
She's essentially being like, if you don't bang me, you're grounded. Yeah, not cool, Mom. Anyway.
I don't want to get grounded. And
Can't go drone striking if I'm grounded.
Can't go drone striking anymore.
I feel like I just keep interrupting you over and over.
No. It's, as opposed to what? Every other episode, that's how we do. That's the entire point of the show.
Every other episode where I'm silent the whole time.
Or I'm silent while you talk. Come on.
Last week when I tried starting like 5 times and you're like,
I just kept interrupting.
Amazing.
Joke.
It was perfect. And what I wanted.
Basically, he's like, just don't do this, and then that's it. And he's like, dude, calm down. And you don't want like your stepmom, who's a horn dog, you don't want to tell her to calm down. Absolutely not. And the sets are off. And so Siavash starts screaming and just shrieking, and then just like rips her clothes, and then like claws at her face, and just goes all nuts and gets all hysterical. And the king, he's taking like a kebab nap in the other room, and he just like wakes up and he just stumbles in. He's like, what the hell is going on in here?
Mouthful of sugar cubes.
Yeah.
We talked about that one episode with the sugar cubes and the tea.
It was the UFO, the Tehran UFO incident.
He spits all the sugar cubes out.
He's sugar cubes out. He's like, he's like, what's happening? I'm trying to take a chort over there. What the hell?
Nap King.
And what is he's the Nap King, exactly. And what does Siavash do? She tells her husband that his son
came on to
tried to have his way with her. Exactly.
This is just a Bible. Let's look at that from the Bible too.
Yep.
I don't remember the names. Joseph and
the Bible.
The Pharaoh's wife. Look at that.
A tale as old as time. Now, despite generally being
false rape accusations, a tale as old as time.
Yeah. Generally speaking, despite being aloof, King Kaveh was like, this doesn't track. This doesn't really all add up to me. So he gets all like SVU and he brings in like BD Wong and like they're just like trying to do whatever. There's no traces of anything that like show suspect. Also, Siavash is sort of like in the corner, like all frozen and scared and just being like, I don't know what to do. Like
I didn't ask for any of this.
Yes. And so King Kaveh is like, yeah, I don't think this is a thing, but if I take up this matter properly, then I'm going to have to like decapitate my wife, whom I kind of still love. I don't really want to do that. This. Yeah. Also, she's originally the princess of like a nearby kingdom. That's who I married for like alliance purposes. And I don't really have the energy to deal with like redoing that alliance.
Was not on my 2025 bingo card. Yeah.
He's just like, he's like, you guys, come on. He's like, do you know how much work this is going to be for me? He's just like, look, listen, let's just do the dad thing and just we'll pretend this didn't happen and we'll not talk about it anymore. Perfect. Great solution for everybody. Excellent. I'm going to go back to my kebab nap. Yeah. And of course, Siavash is like, nevertheless, she's going to persist. She can't deal with it. She's just like, now you made a fool of me.
Girl boss. I mean, yeah.
Girl boss.
Evil girl boss.
Evil girl boss. And apparently she was pregnant with twins at this time.
Oh my.
And so she goes and finds like this witch. And she's just like, you need to like give me a double miscarriage so that I can use that as a weapon against him.
This lady's insane.
She's totally nuts. And the witch does like the whatever double miscarriage. And then she uses it as evidence. She's like, see, your son tried to impregnate me. And there's these 2 babies that were his and they're bad. And so again, the king is like, what? What? And he takes these babies to the whatever, like the royal court, and they're like, yeah, no, these are actually children from that were like, she was impregnated by the devil. That's what this is. They're not from Siavash. Yeah. Which I think is really funny because theoretically that means that they were the king's children. So basically they were like, you're the devil.
The king is the devil. Ouch. He's like, ouch.
Yeah. And so he's like, oh, I don't know. And then, but she doesn't back down. She keeps going. And then King Kaveh is like, look, you guys, being the king is like so hard. Like, all I want to do is just bang ladies in my harem. I hate leading. I don't have to like make decisions.
Just whining.
The worst. Yeah.
Slams his door.
Yeah. And he goes and speaks with the high priests and they all sort of like consult and they all agree on trial by fire.
Oh.
And they're like, listen, this is the only way that absolute truth can be ascertained.
Okay.
Siavash has to ride through fire. And if he's innocent, he's got nothing to worry about. Okay. But if he did do something wrong, your son will immediately burn to death in front of you. Oh.
He can just make another one, but not that hot. Not as hot as that one.
Yeah. And Kaveh is like, great. Sounds super fair. Let's do this.
Sounds normal, like the normal thing someone would do.
He's like, oh, I don't have any control over this. That's what the high priest said. So we got to do this now.
It's absurd. It's like that. It's like that old timey. Like you can tell that this has been through generations. The story has been passed down. Yeah. And here and there, or maybe no, because it was straight up written by somebody. Never mind.
I mean, apparently a lot of these were old tales that were like traditionally. Sorry, the tradition was orally translated, not translated, spoken. It was an oral tradition, and then he sort of the like, let's just burn him. Yeah, let's just burn him. And so the king sends for firewood, just all this firewood.
Great.
And the servants go and they grab it and they just make these like 2 massive piles, like the size of mountains.
Oh, cool.
And everyone in the kingdom shows up because they're like, did you hear? His son's probably going to burn to death. This is going to be awesome. Let's see this
bored.
Shit.
This is just another Saturday afternoon. Let's go watch someone get burned to death.
And Siavash shows up and he's dressed all in white. This is an important part of the story. He's just wearing the purest clothes. Even though it was after Labor Day, he was still wearing white. That's like a fashion
Siavash, come on. You're the prince.
And he can't. He doesn't need to look good because he's already handsome enough. He can wear whatever. Right. It's fine. Anyway, he shows up wearing all white, symbol of purity, and he's riding his trusty jet black horse, who's named Shabnam, which means the color of night.
Ooh, Shabnam.
That's where Nicola perks up and he's like, "Did someone say horse?
Someone say Shabnam." He like knows every horse legend just by being near horses. He's like, he's just imbued with the knowledge.
Oh my god!
Shadowfax.
What if he has? Yeah, this is like the opposite of Shadowfax. This is like shadow.
Goth Shadowfax.
Shadowfax to Shadow Beeper. I don't know.
Shadow Palm Pilot.
Shadow Mojo. So anyway, whatever. Blah blah blah. So he shows up on he's wearing all white. He shows up in his black horse. He's like, I'm ready to go. And the king's like, he's so sad boy. He's like really like mopey and sad. And Siavash is like, listen, don't trip, dude. Listen, I'm the one that might be totally dead in a second because of some insane decree that you made. But let's just focus on how scared you're feeling right now.
Dad, this story is all about narcissistic parents. Can I just say
100%.
that? That's just like, he did not ask for this. He's just his narcissistic parents.
You know what's funny is that the audiobook version of this, if you find it, the introduction is by Francis Ford Coppola. He does, because apparently he loves this book. He gives like a little intro to it. And then the thing that he specifically says, or he's like, I remember reading these stories. And he's like, what I thought was so interesting is that it's always the parents betraying the son. He's like, it's never the children betraying the parents. It's always the other way around. He was like, and I had never read something like that before.
I was going to say, that's not really a common thing in other mythologies that I can think of. It's usually the parents that are there to like, chastise the wayward son or whatever.
Exactly. But anyway, so Siavash is like, I got this. Don't worry. I'm pure of spirit and pure of heart, whatever. And thankfully, he had truth on his side.
Yeah.
And so Siavash gets on his horse. There's these giant flames that are just massive, the size of mountains. And he just rides directly into them.
Yes. That's so hardcore. Oh my, like that's like the contrast of the black and white just riding through flames. That's dope.
So the Persian miniatures, that's like a style of painting. It's been drawn over and over again. So I can show you a couple of these interpretations of them.
Whoa. Oh, that is so cool.
I should have been sending you art this whole time. I kept forgetting. Sorry.
Everyone's like, whoa. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, he is hot. I'm just kidding.
Quite literally.
Ooh, hottie. Oh, that's dope. Look at these pictures. Look at him. There's a stepmom. Is she in the window right there looking at him?
That's a good question. I assume so.
His dad's like, oh, he's alive. Yay. Cool. And his stepmom's like, now how do I bang him? I gotta get in them pants. Those white pants. I gotta get in them. Okay, this is really cool. I like how they draw the flames.
Yeah, the flames are super cool looking.
Yeah.
It looks like paisley almost, but like as fire.
Like a pattern.
Yeah. Anyway, so sure enough, he valiantly rides directly into the flames and comes out on the other side unscathed, as is his horse, which I thought was interesting. His horse has also got like the power of truth on his side.
It's a sinless horse.
Sinless horse. But he just basically goes through huge flames, comes out the other side, not a speck of ash on his pure white outfit.
Wow.
He sort of does one of these. He's just like, I'm looking good.
Dad. Look how honest I am.
Yeah. And because he was pure of heart and pure of intention and everything was fine, he came out unscathed. The crowd cheers The king cheers. Everyone's like, yeah. And then they were all hype and they partied for like 3 days.
Just high-fived over and over and over.
Just bam, bam, bam.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, woo! And then they like partied and danced and ate food and kebab and sugar cubes are spilling everywhere.
Everywhere.
Straight mainlining chai, all kinds of stuff.
Posting it on Instagram. Instagram stories galore. These guys were like...
This is the best. They had the best party of all time. And eventually, the party's over and they're like recovering from their hangovers. And then the king kind of wakes up and he's like, oh, right. I guess I have to like kill my wife now. Ugh,
oh, right. That was the other option.
Because she was a total liar. And he's sitting there and he's like, fine. He's like, and he's like, I don't want to.
Totally dragging his feet.
Yeah.
I want to kill my wife.
And he grabs his sword and he's like getting ready and he's like, okay, I'm doing it now.
Look at me.
I'm going to chop her. I'm going to kill her. And before he does, Siavash is like, he just steps in and he's like, bro, just come on. Listen,
you don't have to do this.
Just spare her life. And it's a little bit of like, you know how they do. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks, bro. Don't worry about it. Like,
bros before hoes.
Bros before. You can't trust them. He's like, this is just what they do.
They just try to bang you until you try to kill them.
Yeah. He's like, she doesn't know any better. She's a woman. What do you think?
Oh, no, this story, women lose in this story.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Just discarded at the second one of them has a sexual desire. Oh no, killer.
This is not a progressive story. This chapter of this book is not.
Myths usually aren't.
Yes,
it's a way to like keep women, remind them of their place.
Yeah, and the king, he was like, thank God someone said something because I really didn't want to do this. I did not want to kill her.
Boy boss energy.
Yeah, super boy boss. He's like, thank God. Fine. Okay, we're not killing her. Let's just forget it. Let's just pretend like this never happened.
Okay. Okay, Dad. They're in family therapy later, and he's like, you always do this, Dad. You just pretend like things don't happen. You tried to kill my mom. Anyway.
Exactly. Anyway, and whatever. The story of Siavash continues. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens. But for the purposes of this, of Chaharshanbe Suri, they're basically like, that's essentially, so it's not confirmed. I couldn't confirm that it's sort of what they say, but there's no like official, it's not in the book being like, and then the holiday came from this. But
but you
the theory, I could see that this would be part of it. Yeah. So the story essentially goes that this is why Persians celebrate the last Wednesday of each year with jumping over the fire as like a way to sort of cleanse.
Oh, cool.
And then begin the new year. And then I think, so we do it here in the States on Tuesday night because Wednesday in Iran is, there's the time difference. So if we were to do it on Wednesday night, it ends up being Thursday.
So you're doing it in Iran time.
Correct. Okay. So usually we'll do it on Tuesday night. So by the time this episode comes out, we'll have already jumped over the fires last night.
Go check that Instagram story, guys. Yeah, you gotta put something on there.
Jot that down.
Jot it down.
Anyway, that's part of the legend of Siavash that relates to jumping over the fires, and which theoretically may have been part of the inspiration for Chaharshanbe Suri and the desire to cleanse.
That was dope. Thank you.
Yeah,
that was a great story. I have a dark spot. I have a blind spot when it comes to Persian mythology. But thanks
most
to you, I've
do.
been slowly. Well, it's a good thing. Here's the thing: it's one of the most complete mythology cycles we have.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I gotta go actually read that book or listen to the audiobook. Is the audiobook good?
The audiobook's pretty good too. It feels more like a story, like a childhood story, like you would read, like you'd listen to while you're. Like your parents would read to you, like in the library, or somebody would read to you in the library, which is good. It's very like, and then Siavash arrived, and he was on a horse, but his wife described blah blah blah. It's like that kind of. I'm not doing a good job. It's very like kind of old timey story, which is fun. It's not like a straight normal reading of it. It's very like performed.
Yeah. Well, that was awesome. It was really great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Happy Nowruz.
Thank you. Happy Nowruz to everybody.
Yeah. I hope your plants are good. And I hope you jump over fire good.
I'm such good fire jump. Kaveh love fire, Michael.
I was trying to find.
Why is it all we're doing is Arrested Development quotes?
We just regurgitate Arrested Development quotes. My brain stopped developing when I was 24.
Yeah, same, pretty much.
That's what I was watching at the time. Well, cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's my tab. What have you got for us this week? Do you also have a Nowruz related tab?
Sadly, no.
Oh.
It was funny because like a few weeks ago, I was like, "Oh, by the way, our episode's releasing the day before Nowruz." And you're like, "I know." I like tried to give you the idea to do a tab related to Nowruz. I'm like, you're like, "I know." I'm like, "Oh, sorry, my bad." I fully like Nowruz explained to you.
All good.
But no, I don't have anything related to that. This is a little. This is intense in a different way.
You're like, mine's actually all about water. It's not about fire.
And how much fire sucks and water wins. That is interesting though, because if you like look at Christianity, the cleansing force is water.
Yeah.
I guess fire.
The fish, too. All that stuff. Is
I don't know.
Like a fish? Is that what
he
Jesus
made a
fish
bunch
are about?
of fish? I have no idea.
I don't know.
I see. I don't understand the whole like WWJD stuff, like the.
You do not understand what Jesus would do?
I mean, I do, but like there was never any of that growing up where it was like, let's focus just on how dope this dude is. You know? It was, it doesn't matter. Not about that. So, well, it is because it's kind of about Christianity, but not in like a...
Your tab's about Jesus today is what you're saying.
I am here to tell you...
About our Lord and Savior.
Our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And how you can achieve eternal life.
I'm intrigued.
I've never heard that before. No, so mine is... I'll get into it. So, as you know, I went on a road trip last week to Seattle to visit some friends and to, as you said, accidentally go to the con, but no one was there.
I was going to say, for the point of reference, this is the trip that you took before you actually went to Emerald City. Not that time matters in the sense of this podcast, but
I've been
this was the first trip you did to Seattle this year within a span of like 2 weeks.
I was in Seattle for half of the month of March. And I drove there like an idiot. Like the last time I drove up there, I was like, oh, that's fine. I'm never going to do that again. And then I did it again. And I forget that it's like a 16-hour drive with like stopping and stuff.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah. So driving home, it was great. Seattle was great. Rained the whole time. Loved it. Could live up there. But it makes Sean sad to be in the rain all the time. So I couldn't do that to him. But I could easily live in the rain forever and ever. But I drive home. And this drive home is beautiful. Have you ever driven up there?
I have not driven from Seattle, no.
Have you ever driven through Northern California?
Is that a real question? Yes, of course.
No, like north, like Eureka.
Oh, like upper.
Upper. No, not where you live.
I'm sorry. I was like, what?
Is that a joke? No, like the part of California everyone forgets about. That's like
the north.
Sandwiched between like Santa Rosa and Oregon.
No, I've not been that far. I've not driven around up north. So like the tippy tip.
Yeah. The tip of...
I've not touched tips with California and Oregon. I've not done the tip
Oregon
touching
and California touch tips.
That's what they call it. The tip touching tour is what it is.
The tip touching. You go all around the nation and go to every part where a tip touches another tip.
All the tips touch. No, I have not touched those tips.
Yeah, those
Tell
tips
me about
are...
it.
Well, I was driving and for lunch we stopped in some like quaint little town. And this place is beautiful. Like Mount Shasta's there. Gorgeous, rugged terrain. It's very pretty. And I don't remember this town we stopped in, but it felt like I wasn't even in California. Like I was like, I feel like I'm in a different weird mashup of a bunch of different places. And it was made even more so when I walked out of the bathroom and some man in a cowboy hat was like, howdy, ma'am. And I'm like, well, interesting. No one in California has ever spoken like a cowboy to me. And I knew that there was like, no, have they talked to you like that?
Yeah, I have to say there's pockets of the East Bay that have like weirdly very like cowboy-ish kind of vibes to them. There's a bar in my old town. It was called the Roundup Saloon, which has been around like forever.
What?
There was like a weird cowboy streak where I went to high school. I don't know why it was, but it was.
That's like when I went to high school, everyone was into ska.
We had those too, but there was like a cowboy contingent, like kids who wore like cowboy boots, like who did farming stuff. Yeah, I don't really understand.
You're pretty close to this. That was a little more close to like the central corridor of like farming and stuff. I guess. I don't really know. Anyway, it's not totally odd to me that somebody would be like howdy cowboy with a hat on and stuff. Okay, because it was a little bit like I went from like Seattle through Oregon and suddenly there's a howdy ma'am. And then a bunch of people were wearing cowboy hats. And I felt like I was just like not in California anymore. And so I walked back to the car and I'm like, okay, there's more cowboy hats. Okay, now I'm noticing things are very like Gold Rush town and like cowboy. And as I got back on the road, I was so wrapped up in the beautiful, rugged landscape of the place that I almost didn't notice the gigantic sign that said, "Welcome to the state of Jefferson."
Oh, you went to the state of Jefferson?
Have you heard about the state of Jefferson?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Holy cow. What? How has this been here the whole time? Apparently, a bunch of people in this section of California call it the state of Jefferson. How did you hear about this? How did you find out about the state of Jefferson?
You know what's funny is it is an open tab on my phone somewhere. I swear to God, I have a tab open about it. Yeah. I'd never read. I was like, I want to say it was a conversation with like Joe and Ario when I was in Sacramento or something.
Oh, because Sacramento is like a beef. He had like bone to pick with Jefferson.
Yeah, I feel like is when I was visiting family in Sac is that it came up and I was like, oh, this is weird. I should. But that was like a year ago when I had opened it.
I'm gonna tell you about this.
You beat me to the tab. This is one of the first ones that's ever happened.
We have an overlap right here.
But I didn't really read it. It was one of my open tabs where I was like, I should read about this someday. And then I never really did. So great.
Well, we're going to hear all about the state of Jefferson,
Great.
Which is the proposed 51st state of the Union. Yep. And it wasn't always the proposed 51st state. It was actually one of the very first Western areas that wanted to form into a state. Mm-hmm. And let me walk back a little bit. So I saw this sign and it just this huge thing that says state of Jefferson. And I
opened up your eyes.
Huh? And so I like told Siri, because I forget everything I see every second of the day. I was like, Siri, look up the state of Jefferson. And she was like, I can't understand you. Your phone's been dropped 70 times. So I had to like pull over and type it in. And my daughter was like, go, what are we doing? Yeah. Like, sorry, your mom's insane.
Yeah.
By the way, the other day, my daughter was like, Mom, why do you have to know everything? Because I was like, what kind of plant is that? And I start looking it up and she's like, why do you have to know everything? And I'm like,
why do you be such a know-it-all?
Fair point.
You're like, anyway, because your mother has a podcast, which means I'm insufferable. Deal with it. And then sunglasses drops down on your face.
Shut up. And if I didn't do this at the podcast, I'd be telling you all of this stuff. Yeah. Okay, kid?
You're lucky.
You should be thanking me for doing this.
Exactly.
This podcast puts food on the table.
Yeah, the food on the table that's like in the
invisible,
hook, the imaginary hook that they're all splattering they're all just sitting there eating empty bowls. That's the food it puts on the table.
Delicious invisible soup.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
You're doing join the Patreon.
Peter. Just go join the Patreon, you know?
Please.
Okay, so I thought that's odd. This is weird, so let's look it up. So when I finally got back home after 9 more hours, I just dove into this state of Jefferson, which is, this goes back all the way back to the gold mining days. And when they first discovered gold in their hills or whatever. And
gold in them hills, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's gold in this hill. Let's go secede from California.
Let's go roll down it while we're 69ing with other rich people. Woo! Did you already forget the holding hands 69 rolling down the hill?
Of course I did. That was 4 episodes ago.
That was your Spite House episode.
Was it?
Do you not remember this?
I remember. But this was like here's the thing. San Francisco was like gold rush like for rich people. North of that was like gold rush for garbage people, like trash. Yeah. Like, and I say this as my grandpa is from there, that area.
You say this as a fellow trash pile.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Okay. And there I mentioned my grandpa, so that if you're doing the bingo card, you can check off Hannah mentions family. All right?
So jot that down.
As I get back. No, I just skipped ahead. So give me a second. So even before California was made a state, people were debating what would become of the Oregon Territory, because it was like owned by the U.S. and England and Russia and Canada, like on and off. And everyone's like, this place is dope.
Russia owned part of it?
Yeah. Russia used to own all of Alaska all the way down the Canadian coast into Oregon.
I didn't realize it was that far down.
Yeah. So when people were like Oregon trailing, they were like, we're going to go to this
the Russian territories,
to Russian, British, Canadian territories.
That's so weird. I had no idea.
Yeah. So Thomas Jefferson, one of the most racist of our founding fathers, which is saying something.
I was going to say.
He wrote a lot, like constantly, and he always had these crazy ideas. And one of his ideas was like, you know what? How about we just like do a whole new country out there and call it like the Pacific Empire or the Pacific Republic? And he had this like kind of idea, like, yeah, that would be cool, because look, they have their own, like the Rocky Mountains kind of split this nation out, that split this land up. They can have their own thing. And people out there were like, that sounds awesome, but didn't happen. They ended up, dividing it along the parallels, and everyone was mad about how they divided all the lines. And
I'm sorry, are white people mad about how lines got divided? Oh no, sorry, it's really hard.
this land we stole isn't what we wanted it to be. No, this is good. So this dates. Oops. There was this big movement from the very beginning that these 3 states, Oregon, Washington, and California, would be one huge republic. They felt
we now refer to as Cal Exit.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I almost got into that, but
yeah.
But they felt like they weren't represented back east in D.C. They felt neglected, and it was true. They didn't get, people were drawing up these, stealing the land and drawing up these borders, despite what the others thieves of land wanted to do. They had a booming economy from exploiting all the gold and logs, and they wanted the right to use their natural resources without having to report to the government. Yeah. They also felt distinctly different culturally from the rest of California and Oregon. And after driving through there, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I know, they're Jeffersonian, as they call themselves. And there was a huge distance between Salem and Sacramento. And so there just wasn't money getting to them. There was no help with stuff. They just felt completely abandoned. Yeah. And after California's statehood in 1850, they were like, okay, we actually have to do something about this. But the whole plan got interrupted by that pesky Civil War in the 60s.
I heard about that one. Yeah.
It was rough. Look, states' rights. States' rights to own people. Come on. That's what our country is founded on. So the idea went dormant for 70 years, right? And then it gets revived again in 1935 when the residents of Northern California are like, our roads suck and we have logs to ship and whatever else we do. And there's no ports. There's one port and it sucked. Yeah. And so it's it's too mountainous to have a port. So these roads were really important. They're like, you want us to export stuff? Give us better roads. And Sacramento's like, we don't have money. We're too busy giving into the war or whatever. Actually, no, the war hadn't started yet. Never mind.
No, 35.
I don't know my dates.
I don't know what's happening in Sacramento in 35.
You know what? Probably the same thing that's happening now. Nothing. So fast forward to 1941. In October 1941, this charismatic mayor of this place called Port Orford in Oregon, his name was Gilbert Gable.
Guilford.
I'm Guilford Gable.
Gable.
I'm the mayor of Port Orchard. I don't know why he has a southern accent.
He does. It's canon now.
It's canon. He's an East Coast native transplant who's a journalist.
He could be, yeah.
He's a journalist, or he's kind of this all-around jack of all trades, but with charisma. He's very charismatic, a slight alcoholic, which they go hand in hand sometimes.
Usually that's usually how it goes. A slight alcoholic. Yeah. It depends on what kind of alcoholic you are.
Functioning.
Sometimes if you're highly functioning, slight alcoholic, that's a good time.
Yeah. And he was eccentric, more show than substance, but he was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to transform Port Orchard. Not Port Orchard, that's a city in Washington. Port Orford.
Good thing he didn't change that one. Port Orford.
Orford. Port Orford.
Okay.
He's going to transform Port Orford into a bustling port to ship all the stuff out of and fix the road problem.
So I'm going to take all these orphans that are hanging out by the port,
turn
it into a bustling shipyard.
None of that.
I don't know. Sense. This voice isn't really working. It's not my strongest work.
It's up there. Just kidding.
People of Jefferson want to end us now.
3 boxes of the bingo card could have been checked off in the last 2 minutes.
Oh, we promised it at the beginning of the episode. We're like, this one's just going to get all full.
Okay, so he built this port and this harbor and this dock, and then everyone's like, this is awesome. And then a storm promptly swept it all into the ocean. Because
bummer. He didn't do a good job.
He didn't know. But that spurred everyone to be like, hey, we actually need to fix this road problem.
Yeah.
We're kind of annoyed. These stupid liberals in Sacramento, there were,
The liberal cucks in Sacramento are sitting around worrying about, I don't know, Enron. Instead of helping
in
us.
1941. So this reporter from the San Francisco Chronicle named Stanton Delaplane, such an old, Stanton Delaplane.
That is a Simpsons character name.
Yes. I'm Stanton Delaplane.
that sounds like somebody that Mr. Burns would reference to Smithers. I was just ahoy hoy. I was speaking to Stanton Delaplane yesterday, and Smithers yeah, Sir Stanton Delaplane has been dead for 150 years, but
You're so right. That is. So
Stanton Delaplane.
Delaplane was like this 35-year-old reporter who was like, I will take any crazy story.
Can you imagine a person calling themselves Stanton Delaplane coming to your house, asking me questions? I'm going to be like, I have to be truthful.
Sorry, stop.
Your name is Stanton Delaplane. I can't lie to you. I can't hide the truth.
So Stanton, Mr. Delaplane, was like, this sounds like an interesting story. Everyone up there is like, let's make a new state called Jefferson. So he heads up there, and Stanton was known to be like a colorful reporter, and sometimes would exaggerate, and sometimes would like, make a big deal about nothing. And so
your name is Stanton Delaplane. What are you gonna do? Write like straightforward? Listen, if I see that name, I'm reading it because it's gonna be colorful.
I need to hear the gossip from Stanton Delaplane. He even helped, so he gets up there and he teams up with Gilbert Gable to like
Gilly Gabe and Stanton.
My name's Gil.
No, it's Gilly Gabe.
Gilly Gabe and Stanton, and they started kissing. Nope. So there's no gayness in this story. Just kidding. I like to imagine. I'm sorry,
Stanton and Gilly Gabe, 100%. There's gay stuff happening.
They immediately kissed. And they're like, whoa. Yeah. Wow, love at first sight. Love at first Stanton and Gil. I don't know. So Gilbert was like, I have this idea to like make this we're gonna reignite this old what is it? Movement. I got panicked there for a second. Movement to make the state of Jefferson. And Gilbert and Delaplane was like, all right, I can get in on this. And he helps him write a Proclamation of Independence manifesto to publish. Nice. And he states that Jefferson was in patriotic rebellion against the states of California and Oregon, and that they would attempt to secede from California and Oregon every Thursday until it worked.
Listen, this is always a good idea. When you get a bunch of white people together in the woods wanting to secede from things and writing a declaration against the government,
they're going to become
always ends well.
Either serial killers or they're going to secede. That's just, there's two pipelines.
Or a militia. Or like mass murder of some sort.
We'll get to the militia part in a minute.
Yeah.
So it was really tongue-in-cheek and like kind of sarcastic of like, we're going to do this every Thursday until you listen.
They're like, every Thursday? Come on, how about every other Thursday? I have
like bingo on one of those Thursdays.
I have tap dancing classes. I can't go to this every week.
Alyssa's going to be so bummed out that I miss her tap dancing classes.
She will not secede. She has practice. She can't go to it. Anyway, sorry, continue.
So they gathered at the Wairika, this city called Wairika, which I need to look into that name.
Wairika? Like, is it next to Eureka?
Nope.
Okay.
It's up north. You know that picture I put on the Discord
Wairika?
of the lady?
I don't know.
What? Yeah. Oh, how Rika? That picture I put on the Discord of that lady sitting in the bathtub.
The Wairika, the 5 W Hurika, what Rika of journalism. Yeah, the Wenrika. That's what they teach you in journalism school.
Mm-hmm. But that
Gilbert
picture,
Gottfried, what was his name? The other guy? Sorry.
You know what? It doesn't even matter.
Not Gilly, the other one, the one with the cool name.
Stanford. I don't know. What's his name? Stanton Delaplane. Okay? These old, you know what? White men, I've had enough of them. I'm sick of them. I've had it up to here. Stop naming your kids this. If your son is white, I've had it up to here. Don't name them Stanton. Don't give your son your maiden name. It just makes him into a white supremacist, okay? That's like number one requirement for a white supremacist. Be named your mother's maiden name, all right? I'm old Hillam. No, we don't have enough gumption to be white supremacists.
You guys are like, this sounds hard.
This is hard. It's funny because the Hillams, technically, at this time, were living south of Wairika. Not participating. That's what we do. We drop out of school. I can't stop talking. Okay. It was a kind of this sarcastic movement, and they made Gable a new government, and they declared Wairika the capital.
So it was meant to be cheeky initially. It wasn't like a real declaration. Okay.
And here is the flag they made. They made a flag, and this is the Great Seal of the state of Jefferson. And it's
a green flag with a circle in the middle that's yellow, and it says the Great Seal of Jefferson. And it looks like 2 X's in the middle of it that look like an old-timey jug of like moonshine.
That's what it looks like. But those 2 X's represent the double crosses, being double crossed by Salem and double crossed by Sacramento. Spite. And I'm going to
say I'm kind of on board with the level of anger in this. No, not going to lie.
It's hold on to that.
It sounds like it doesn't go well, but just at least at this stage, it's cheeky and it's like
cool.
Spiteful.
I'm all aboard. And
but yes,
they made their own motto, which was, "Our roads aren't passable. They're not even jackassable."
That is the most, as you said, functional alcoholic kind of line that you can write. They're jackassable. I don't know. Ship it. Get me another gin martini.
More white nonsense is what this is. So then they made the state flower anything but a pansy. So
interesting.
So annoying.
Judgmental of pansies. Why did pansies become the association of somebody who's a pansy?
I don't know.
It's just because they're naming them after flowers seems kind of like a thing anyway. Like if you want to make fun of somebody, why did you have to know about like flowers? Even the person who knew enough about flowers and pansies to make fun of that person for being weak, it's like, oh, cool, you're into horticulture. You're the loser. I mean, I don't think that they're a loser. I just mean that that's a weird insult. Well,
it is. It's weird.
You understand what I'm saying, though, right? I'm just like, who knows so much about
right?
You're not cool. You know about flowers. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
a botanist, and I'm calling you a pansy, and that's bad. Like, this guy is a pansy, and if you knew botany like I did, anyway.
Yeah.
So they conducted what was called the Wairika Rebellion, which was a bunch of young men with guns dressed as cowboys, stopping cars, making out. Being called pansies, stopping cars and handing out their proclamation of its independence. And like this reporter, whatever his name was, with guns, they would hold to like draw attention and to make it so that people would actually stop. Because like if you see a guy with a gun, you're probably
that's called
stop.
Threatening people to take your stupid pamphlet.
Don't you know? That's called liberty.
Yeah.
If you have a gun, that means you're better than everyone.
But also, my favorite Mitch Hedberg joke is like, when you come out of a concert and they'll hand you flyers. He's like, all they're saying is here. No, he says, all they're releasing. He says, here, you throw this away. That's what they're doing. They're just like, here, you throw this away while I hold a gun.
Well, people kind of got on board. They're like, this is funny. Like, these guys are out here every Thursday.
Did they really get on board, or are they afraid of all these people with guns handing out flyers?
Well, the interviews I watched, they were like, oh, it was a fun time. Whatever.
Again, because would you want to go against that with the massive amount of people with guns?
No.
I would also just be like, this is a cheeky idea. That's great. I love.
Great. Succeed.
Yeah. Don't kill me. Thanks.
But Gilbert Gable, somebody described him as, this lady's like, he was fine. Not as nice as his wife, but he was fine.
Okay. So someone could say the same about me. My wife. Everybody loves my wife.
You don't help that at all. You're always like, here comes my wife. She's better than me. I can't wait till you can meet my wife.
Sarah reference, bingo card.
Boom, 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 boom. So they're like, we got to get this on newsreels. Because this reporter is like, let's do this. I'm all in. I need this story. So they reenact it. So all the things you see in a newsreel, it's just all reenactions of this. They even literally told the crowd to laugh and clap. Please laugh. Please clap.
Please clap. Jeb Bush is there.
Time traveler Jeb Bush.
He's directing the newsreels.
Oh, please clap. Please
clap.
It started gaining half joking, half serious popularity. And in the short time that November that the stories ran in the Chronicle, and everyone loved it. Even state senators were like, "Yeah, we're on board." Let's And things were heating up. And on December 2nd, 1941, Gable and Delaplane got together to plan the last, final, and biggest publicity push for this movement. The two drank, with Gable already a very functioning alcoholic, drinking significantly more than Delaplane. And after their meeting, Delaplane went home. And the next morning, Gable was dead from a heart attack.
Oh, shit.
Straight up died.
That's like the worst publicity stunt I've ever heard of.
This was so fun. Dead. And everyone's like, oh, our movement, our fun joke movement. It's gone. But then everyone's like, no, we're going to make this new governor named John Childs. And he's just kind of this other guy. I didn't look into him because his name didn't intrigue me. As we all know, a week later, the day of infamy, December 7th, 1941, Pearl Harbor happens.
I've heard of that one. Yeah, the Ben Affleck movie. It comes out.
Yeah, it's I didn't see it, of course. I don't watch movies, so I don't know what Pearl Harbor is.
I haven't seen that one either.
Yeah.
Only thing I know about that movie, I think that's the one where Michael Bay forced Ben Affleck to go get caps on his teeth or whatever, because he was your teeth look stupid. I'm going to pay for the studio to fix your teeth.
You got Boston trash teeth.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got caught up thinking about Ben Affleck's teeth. Thanks,
You're like,
bud.
that's all I can think about.
I ate like 4 gummy worms just now, and now my teeth hurt. So,
ouch.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pearl Harbor, famously, the island of Niihau, which was an episode that was episode 4.
Episode 4, one of the first like really big fun stories about this Japanese pilot who crashes on this forbidden island in Hawaii.
Great episode.
And it absolutely upends the entire island, and there's someone kills someone with a rock. It's awesome.
It's a good time.
I always got to bring up the fact that while Pearl Harbor was happening, my grandpa skipped church and shot his friend in the head on accident.
As one does.
And his friend survived. He's fine. But this was happening in the state of Jefferson. Technically in the state of Jefferson, my grandpa was accidentally grazing his friend's head with a bullet. But so the movement died with the outbreak of World War II because suddenly those roads they were complaining about got fixed.
Also, there's bigger things to worry about at this point.
They're like, well, this dumb little statehood thing. Now we actually got to like produce logs for the army.
Yeah.
So they fixed the roads.
Big old redwoods too, right? That's what they all got up there. Beautiful.
Yeah, gorgeous. They're all gone now.
Yeah. But we needed wood because we needed to. That's how we stormed the beaches of Normandy with spears.
With
that's
spears
how we beat
made
the
of
Nazis.
redwood. We
just
slapped
one
Hitler
giant
on the face.
spear. That's why we needed so many dudes, is to all carry one big
giant
redwood
spear
across the water just to stab Nazis together at once.
Straight through their big Nazi hearts. No,
awesome.
We made a paddle and just smacked Hitler with a redwood paddle. That's how we won the war. Man, I want to kill him again.
Travel in time. That's what apparently everybody has to do. You're obligated to go back in time and kill Hitler.
It should just be a given that that's what you do first. Okay, everybody? So now everyone's like, economy booming. We like Oregon again. We like California again. We're going to stay where we are. And it just kind of like chilled out. But the mindset, the state of mind of Jefferson never really left. And the point where people were like, no, we are Jefferson. We're at least a separate like culture. And we still consider ourselves Jeffersonian. And we still call this place Jefferson. And this movement kind of just held on as like kind of like this dormant thing of like, it was a new identity for them.
Yeah.
Their belief was that they wanted this state because it offered freedom, open spaces, and independence, which, sorry, you stole the land. And many considered it a geographical region that they were really proud of. So today it's still a movement, but no longer tongue in cheek. It is not a joke anymore.
Yeah.
People take it really seriously. And this is where it gets not fun.
Okay.
With their signs up there referring to it as a state, like welcome to Jefferson, Jefferson, this and that. And people are still kind of leaning into that cowboy frontier look. Like those cowboys who staged the Wairika Rebellion all those years ago. And it started to gain traction again in 2014, right? 2014, back in the okay days. Perceivably okay days. And it didn't make it very far in Congress or whatever. And then in 2016, something huge happened that really, really kicked off a serious nationalist movement. And that was the election of Donald Trump. And suddenly...
Right. I remember that.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
And California
that was on my radar a little bit.
It was on... Look, I don't pay attention to politics because I just don't want to get involved. But I did hear about that lady winning California and then the north of California being an entirely block of red votes. Like they voted for Trump. North of like Santa Rosa, that's Trump town. And Hillary won. And there was like this virulent, you remember there was a virulent anti-Hillary thing that was just like, we hate this. We hate her so much. Benghazi and emails. And so this starts to gain traction as like a symbol of like, anti-Hillary, like, hey, look, we voted, all 3 million of us up here voted, and we had no representation in whatever California. And so it starts to they start to talk again about Jefferson and being
welcome to being Californian, by the way. That's fundamentally the most Californian thing, is that we all voted for one thing, and then the rest, despite providing for like whatever 6th largest economy in the world,
right? The end of the day,
there's 2 Dakotas. Thanks. We really need all that.
Thanks, yeah. I don't even know what you do over there besides carve mountains.
Listen, I'll be honest. Never been to Dakotas. Nothing against them.
I'm sure they're lovely.
I have no idea. I'm speaking out of turn. I just don't like that California has so little influence when it comes to this state. When it comes to this kind of shit. I'm like, come on.
We have 2. Okay, it's fine.
Anyway, all I'm saying is the irony of them feeling upset that they voted for one thing and then the rest of the state. And I'm like, yes, that's being from California. You were actually more Californian through that process than you realize.
Right. Welcome. We're all here.
Yes. That's strangely, ironically, the most relatable thing about you is your frustration with that.
And the flag is kind of cool.
Yeah. This could have been a learning time. Could have been a learning opportunity for them to just.
But instead, it was
bond with the rest of us.
Lady bad, man good. Yeah. So 2016 happened, and as we know, shit hit the fan a little bit. And remember when we were like, oh, everything's ending, and it wasn't actually ending, but now it's actually
ending.
Didn't
even know. I look back at 2016 and I was like, to only be, if that was only the worst of it, was what happened in 2016, that seems like a vacation.
Ban? Oh my God, I would take just a Muslim ban any day.
I already went through that. I already knew what that was. I was like, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't know.
Then 2020 rolls around, and COVID made everyone insane. Yep. Sorry, I'm sure there's lots of great people in Jefferson, okay? Beautiful state. Beautiful area. I just don't agree with how you voted. And the fact that you were anti-mask. And so that was another reason they wanted to secede from California. And at this point, Oregon's like, we don't want anything to do with you. At this point, it's just California. And Oregon's like, we're good. Yeah. We have, so I got derailed on my anger about the current time. And so as COVID did, it kind of pushed people to the extremes. And so there was a lot of anti-mask
stuff. Made everybody a little bit nuts.
Yeah, me included.
All of us, yeah.
All of us, yeah, in some way or another. I think I was actually legitimately nuts. But anyway, I just wanted to point out that it is now, the idea of Jefferson is now a rallying point for white supremacists.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Because
as if they need more rallying points.
They've had enough. This entire country is a white supremacist rallying point, and it has been for 200 years. Okay, you've had your time. You've been on top.
Wow. All of our white supremacist listeners.
All you're made up of is recessive genes, and I can say that because I am also only made of recessive genes. Okay.
Listen, we hope that our white supremacist listeners manage to say subscribe to the podcast.
Please,
and hopefully contribute.
Pay for us.
No, actually, if you're a white supremacist, eat shit and die. We don't want
shit.
You. Do not contribute. As if we even need to say this.
Right. So I want to point out that not this whole time Jefferson's been in the talks and stuff. It's always kind of been a white supremacist rally.
Can we just call it the pillow fort of Jefferson? Because it's not a state. It's not legally recognized. This is the equivalent of fort. Yeah, the cardboard. I'm like, these are just kids deciding like this is the state of Jefferson. I'm like, there's no legal recourse for any of this, right?
You're cosplaying as like.
Yeah, this is just a pillow fort. This is pillow fort of Jefferson.
Okay, the pillow fort that is called Jefferson, that is up there in Northern California. So. I need to go back a little bit too, because it's not new that it's a white supremacist rallying point, because back in the 1850s when they were trying to become their own state, they were starting to be kind of like scouted by this group called the Knights of the Golden Circle. Okay,
I already hate them. Whoever they are,
garbage. Like
they're
seriously?
knights of something. A
Knights
golden
of
circle.
Anything. Oh, go to your little castles, because they called their little things branches. They're branches of their little secret society castles, because they just want to.
By the way, Knights of Golden Circle. I'm just hoping that this is like a dance crew that they're all doing. Like they all want them to come and be like, dance for me. I want to see your best moves, and then they have to come out and do like a flash dance type like jazzercise number for them to be able to be part of the.
Just picture like a bunch of Confederate soldiers jazzercising. I'm beautiful. I'm like, you can dance.
Can I be part of the Golden Circle? Thanks.
No, you're not white enough.
Ma'am.
This Knights of the Golden Circle is this not so secret society who couldn't shut up about themselves, of white supremacists who wanted to create a new country called the Golden Circle, which sounds so stupid. And it would be like wrapped around the Gulf of Mexico. Down to the top.
Careful, Hannah. Now we can't get into the White House.
Oh no. Oh, I was hoping I'd get one of those medals they give you for being a artist
Golden
or whatever.
Circle. Yeah.
Golden Circle.
Continue.
So they wanted to claim like Cuba and like part of Mexico. Like,
sorry, these are people in Northern California wanted to
no.
or the dance crew that was recruiting them.
The racist dance crew
wanted them to come dance in Cuba.
But everyone down in there was like, we don't want you. And they're like, well, there's this place
what are you doing here?
Why are you here? There's this place
isn't even your country.
Right. You can't. Yeah, you brought some slaves here, and we're very grateful for that. But maybe go
also, we have our own dance clubs. Dear
and
Lord.
our own slaves.
Yes.
Sorry. So this Golden Circle secret society was founded by a guy named George Bickley.
Bickley. Ugh.
And he is a doctor of medical.
I hate him, right?
You hate him.
Okay, yes.
This guy's
all right, good.
piece of trash. He is a white supremacist from Tennessee who is a doctor of medical botany, which is another term for fake medicine. It's just completely like fake doctor selling supplements. Literally, you guys haven't changed.
Snake
White
oil
supremacists
salesman.
have not changed. They're still selling supplements. And he's he felt that his practice as doing this eclectic medicine was being controlled by the government, and he wanted to make his own state. And they had these local branches of their little order called castles, because nothing gets these guys off more than cosplaying as medieval police officers. They love it. They love being knights. The members included the Vice President of the U.S., John Breckinridge. Yes.
Oh. I thought you meant the Vice President right now. I thought you thought J.D. Vance was part of it.
Probably.
Yeah, who knows?
No, John Breckinridge was
a member of the Golden Circle.
A member of the Golden Circle, prominent, and John Wilkes Booth was a member. So I'll tell you what these guys do.
By the way, Golden Circle, all I'm thinking is like a cream the cracker type situation, but you're all pissing on each other in a circle. They're all just getting in a circle and pissing on a cracker. Like
that's the initiation. No, they're all pissing on everybody. Everyone takes the
pissing
turn
on each other.
Everyone's the cracker because they're all white, so everyone takes a turn pissing on the cracker.
Yeah. Dear Lord.
Sorry, I'm a race traitor of white supremacist listeners. Okay, sorry. You can count me out. Among their many plans, there were a few that stood out to me, and one of them was that they wanted to kidnap President Lincoln while he was on a train. Like, they would defile a train like that. So they were going to capture him, in the words of them, capture him in Baltimore and replace him with the former Vice President Breckinridge, who is a ardent white supremacist. Anyway, these guys got involved somehow in Jefferson, and they're like, this kind of sounds cool. Maybe we should focus our efforts on Jefferson, California now, and making that Pillow Fort a state. And people, it did not catch on, because they're like, because one of their big rules was we're going to allow slavery here. We're going to bring slaves.
Even the state of Jefferson's like, yeah, bro, no really, thanks.
They were like, we just want to pan for gold and smoke weed. We don't want slaves. And so it didn't really, but there were people who moved there that were white supremacists, and there were people that kind of kept this attitude. So this is not new. Point is, white supremacy is stupid, but it's also very much alive, and they are all around us, and they are trying to do stupid things like this. So I'm laughing, but they've never gone away.
No,
they just went quiet. So they've been slinging fake medicine and trying to secede for the last 200 years. Anyway, so that's Jefferson, and while it's a beautiful place, I don't believe in it, and I don't think it should become a state based on white supremacist leanings, and I wish it would have stayed a joke. The end. Yeah.
The Pillow Fort Jefferson, not for us.
Welcome to Pillow Fort Jefferson.
Yeah. Or it's like you put up a couple of sticks, like broomsticks, and then you take your sheets and and you're just like, no girls allowed. This is Jefferson.
Cooties.
No cooties.
Or no, they'd be like, we don't believe in cooties.
Boys only. White people
so we can
only.
all kiss and piss on each other.
The state of Kiss Pisserson.
The state of Kiss Pisserson. My name is Kiss, son of Pisserson. Son of Piss.
Actually, that was my mother's maiden name, was Piss.
Pisserson. My name is Pisserson Stanton, or whatever. Okay.
Anyway, thank you for that, Tab.
Yeah,
so jot that down. Okay, so now's the part where we're going to close our tabs.
Yes, please.
We've done fire way too many times. I feel like we need to do something other than fire.
How about we do a bunch of piss? Can we piss on our tabs? How about someone saying, howdy, ma'am? No.
I don't know. Gunshot. Alyssa, you just take it away from here.
Gunshot. Boom, 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 boom.
You want to count us down?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. 3, 2, 1. Howdy, ma'am.
That's just going to be it. Just howdy, ma'am.
Howdy, ma'am. Tipped his racist hat at me.
Okay. So the first email is from Derwin from someplace far away. It's a quick
from
one.
Something. You always say that.
Yeah, it's Mr. Snrub from it's the
Sorry, who? Did you make that up?
No, it's Mr. Burns because it's Snrub. It's Burns backwards.
I don't remember that.
It's like a town hall meeting and they've got a bunch of money and they're trying to decide. And he's just like, oh, and he puts on the mustache, big twisty mustache. And he's like, hello, I'm Mr. Snrub and I'm from someplace far away. And he's like, yes, that will do. I think we should pump the money back into the nuclear power plant.
Dude, I wish that I had the type of like neurodivergence that helped me remember quotes, but I don't. And I'm jealous of you.
Listen, it's made me so successful as I eat my fake Peter Pan hook food.
Thanks,
useless. Anyway, whatever. Derwin, hey there. Quick detail. On your last episode, you read emails about Disneyland's garbage tunnels. I have another fact.
We did?
We did, yeah. It was the underground tunnels. The underground trash tunnels.
That's right. I remember that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Disney researched paint colors to determine the perfect hue with which to paint their above-ground trash cans so that they become almost invisible to visitors.
Whoa.
There seems to be a specific shade of green that humans ignore visually, and it's called Go Away Green. They even paint doors that lead to places you don't want visitors to notice. Here's the link, and they include a link to a cinema blend. But here, I was trying to grab a screenshot of it so you can see.
I'm looking at this link.
Here, I'm just sending you the picture of waste, please. Which is not it's a nice shade of green.
Oh, yeah, but it is.
I don't think it's unpleasant. It's
I see nothing in this photo. It's just blank. Oh.
Yeah, right? I just see a recycle, please, with Jimmy Cricket on it and nothing else.
Just floating.
It's like the John Cena meme where you're like, oh, who's there?
That is, that's kind of like one of those colors that's just like, it exists.
I don't know. I find it very soothing, but maybe that's because I'm a trash person myself.
Aw, join the club.
Love the podcast, Derwin. Thank you, Derwin. There's also a bunch more information on this article.
Oh, that's cool.
But anyway, we're running a little bit long, so we should just move on to the next one.
Okay. Well, good thing these are both kind of short. But
this is
from Morgan from California. And Morgan says, hey, gang, long time, first time. I have a tab I need somebody to see. This is what I love. I love when people are just like, it doesn't even have to be good.
I don't know what to do with this.
Just send. If you want someone to see it and validate that you opened that and looked at that and learned about it, that's what we're here for. I was scrolling around Tahunga Canyon. Is that how you pronounce it?
Tahunga.
In Google Maps, just north of the 210, and not driving. They're just on Google Maps.
Yeah.
And saw the words Bill's Bees. This led me to a website full of charming bee-based alliteration.
Oh.
I also learned that there is such thing as stunt bees, and that Hollywood gets them from Bill. So she found the supplier of Hollywood stunt bees. He or she, they found Hollywood. Kill me. I hate myself. I don't know your gender, Morgan. I'm just gonna say they. Great. Now my wife and I can't stop talking about Bill's Bees.
Bees.
Please enjoy. And I went and looked at it, and in their little about section, they're known as the best honey in Los Angeles. They're started by a guy who used to work in aerospace and kept falling asleep at his desk and was like, I have to do something else.
Too much kebab, dude. Stop eating kebab before you sit at your desk.
And do aerospace. Like, we don't want aerospace engineers sleeping at work. So, he was like, I'm getting into the bee business.
Ooh, bees? Orange blossom honey.
Bees.
Love orange. Beads. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. Yeah.
So there's this quote that says, when Bill's bees are not busy nectar gathering or pollinating, they are often Hollywood's favorite honeybees. Bill's Bees has given bee advice to DreamWorks Animation for their feature, A Bee Movie.
A Bee Movie, yeah.
That movie,
I never watched it, but I assume that they played Jerry Seinfeld's ass double. Stunt ass. Jerry Seinfeld's got in his contract that he can't show his bee ass. So we got to have this stunt bee come in.
The bee and the woman fell in love. I'll tell you that much.
I never watched it.
Don't.
I'm curious now. It seems so such an unhinged, weird ass movie.
It doesn't feel good. Watching it, you're like,
I kind of like it.
I don't want to be like a prude, but I don't think a bee and a woman can be together.
They can't be together.
As well as
not with that attitude. Continue. Sorry.
I'm gonna be like old millennial in a restaurant.
Listen, you sit here and
relation. They can't be partners.
Sit here and shit talk white supremacists, and then you turn around and then you actively dismiss and undermine interspecies relations between bees and humans. Wow. Now who's the hate monger, Hannah? Sorry, continue reading the quote.
I'll die on that hill. As well as 2 writers of the crime drama CSI. Oh. I don't know why, but they must have had an episode about bees.
They're like, oh, the kids are calling them bees. It's like pee-pee, but it's poo-poo.
You poop bees, and you pee bees, and you diarrhea bees. Okay. We also have provided live bees or performed bee stunts for the movies The Secret Life of Bees and Break, as well as America's Top Model, Alias, and Storage Wars, which...
Who are the bee performers for Storage Wars?
What, did it open it and just a bunch of bees come out of the storage unit?
Ah!
I'll take it. I'll buy that whole bees unit. Okay. Well, thank you, Morgan. That was amazing.
That's really fun.
Yeah.
If you are from Bill's Bees and you're listening to this, I would be delighted to have some of your orange blossom honey. Yeah, I do love orange blossom.
Bill goes around to farmers markets. You can go to all farmers markets all over LA and buy his honey.
Listen, I'm trying to get free sponsorship food.
Oh, right. Bill.
Bilbo. We'll give you a shout out, Bill, if you bring us your bees. And
yeah,
not
come on
bees.
the podcast.
Yeah. And then he's going to be like, oh, and then I had stunt performers in the middle of the 500 Open Tabs podcast where both hosts started screaming as they got attacked by bees, talking about the kitchens for shitting and the Gwen Stefani toilet, whatever. I don't know.
We're not reputable, are we?
No. Bingo. Bees, bingos. Anyway, thank you. If you also have a random tab that you'd like to submit, please go ahead and email it to 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500. Send us your tab. Let us know who you are, where you're from, and explain a little bit about what it is. Additionally, if you'd like to do a voice memo, we can take those. Some people just write them out, then they read them. It's fun to hear your voices because that way we know you're real people and not weird AI bots that are just sending us emails.
Yep.
We assume you exist. We're taking your word for it.
Although after being online only for years and did a con, I was like, these are real people.
Yeah.
I was genuinely surprised. I was like, what? Anyway, if you want to follow us, we're at 500 Open Tabs on Instagram, and we have a Patreon. You can join that so we don't have to eat invisible food anymore. And my family can eat real food. And we also have a YouTube. Subscribe. You can see all the cool pictures, and you can see
all the sweat dripping from our brows as we scream at each other.
Yeah, and go on the Discord, too. You can get those bingo cards. Oh, also, we'll link those. They're fun.
We'll link those.
And thank you.
Don't forget, we're going to be at C2E2. Once again, reminder, we're going to be in Chicago. I believe April 11th through the 13th are the dates.
Yes, I think so.
Which is that Friday through that Sunday. We're going to be in Chicago. We're very excited. We will have a table number for you very soon, but get ready for that.
And
also at the time of this recording, I forgot I should mention, I'm going to be at WonderCon.
That's right.
For the Mina panel. I totally forgot. That's going to be Saturday night, I believe at 6:30. I'll have details on it on my Instagram, which is @permafriends. And then also I'm Kaveh Taherian on Blue Sky. Please come check it out if you're able to. Also, Alyssa's there.
Yes, Alyssa's going to be there. We don't have a booth number for her yet, but she has a booth there, and she's got some pretty dope stuff that she's rolling out.
I'm really excited to see her have printed and ready to go.
Yeah. Been working hard on this free podcast as well as her own art. So
make sure she gets money.
Please. We can't give her the money.
Can't do it.
You can.
Yes.
I was going to say, I realized that people who listen to this without knowing who we are, we never talk about the fact that we are cartoonists and we draw pictures. It's
really weird that anyone would listen to this podcast not knowing that about us. I just assumed that that's how they would have found us. But
we're not. We're cartoonists. That's our job.
Yes.
We draw pictures, and then we go to Comic Cons, and in our spare time, we yell at each other about white supremacists.
Yes. So, we are both cartoonists. Actually, cartoonists are different from just drawing pictures. We write and illustrate together.
That's what a cartoonist is.
Not together as in you and I collaborate. I mean that we don't draw just drawing or just writing. It's both together. So
right.
It's comics.
I should say.
In my case, it's graphic novels or it's strips or whatever. If
Cartoonist covers all of that. So
yeah. If you're interested in getting any of my books are available at blacksmithfilms.com. You can also find all that information on my Instagram profile and whatnot. Yep. But I've got a couple books.
You got more than a couple.
Yeah.
You got 5.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, guys.
Your stuff can be
whatever.
Doesn't matter.
I can't. I've closed my shop for now because.
Oh, okay. Well, then you'll have to go to Chicago Comic Con.
Redoing
C2E2 to find Hannah's stuff in person.
Yeah, but if you want to go to at Hannah Hillam, you can wait. And I'll announce when my shop is back up. I just need to hire an assistant.
Yay.
And that's it. Woo!
Okay. In the meantime, thank you guys very much. Excellent episode. Thanks for listening to me talk about my culture and then also countering it with a white supremacist story.
Yeah.
Wow.
I felt
racist
really gross.
Much?
I felt gross about that. I'll tell you. You were like,
okay.
I want to celebrate my culture. I'm like, I'm about to scream about white people.
It's the Neapolitan appeal of our podcast is that you get to learn about a different culture, then you get to learn about white supremacists, whatever you want. Pick your flavor. But in the meantime, I will see you at the Gwen Stefani tribute toilet, Hannah.
I will see you at the Gwen Stefani tribute toilet without any bees there. Let's hope there's no bees in the toilet. Flush me down it. Okay, bye.
Bye.